Right, so we're this morning with Steve Welsh, who's combining his job as academy manager along with now being the head coach to Paul Holland for the first team. So welcome and congratulations on your new appointment, Steve.
Thanks very much, Craig. It's something I'm looking forward to.
Brilliant, right, okay. So now the fans can get a little to know. Obviously, the people who come to watch the academy games know a bit about you anyway. But for the vast majority of fans, they don't know a great deal about you. So your career in professional football didn't start the traditional way, did it? You started in the army first off.
I did. I left home at 16, joined the Royal Signals, and spent sort of 6 years with the Royal Signals. Fortunate enough that I played army youth football and combined services. So by the time I was 18 or 19, I was playing army and combined services football regularly, and playing a bit of non-league football at the time with Basingstoke Town, down in sort of what would be the Blue Square South now, or Vanarama South, whatever it's called now. So by the time I was sort of 18, 19 year old, I was playing regular man's football, so to speak, which is something that we're trying to encourage the boys to do at this football club.
Yeah, so when you left, what age were you when you left the army?
I left the army at 22, and turned professional with Cambridge United. Took a bit of leap of faith really, put all my eggs in one basket and had a go at it, and thankfully it worked out. You know, I had a learning 18 months at Cambridge and then moved on to Peterborough and then took off from there.
When you left the army then, did you have any thoughts of staying in the army, or were you ready to leave then and make that leap into professional football?
Well, the army were great to me. I mean, I was a regular playing army and combined service football, as I said, and they said to me, Cambridge offered me an 18-month contract, and the army said, listen, go, enjoy it, see what you can do, and if it doesn't work out for you, after that 18 months you can come back in. So I had that option. I always had something I could fall back on. But once you're out, and you had a taste of full-time football, you know, the opportunity to go to Peterborough then really, I grabbed it with both hands.
Yeah, so you had 3 years at Peterborough, you know, gaining promotion and relegation. So, I mean, the players that you played with, like Steve Claridge, went on to play for Leicester City as well. What are your memories of your time at Peterborough, sort of the highs and the lows even?
I mean, it was a great couple of years at Peterborough. We fortunate enough to get promoted via the playoffs at Wembley in '92, beating Stockport with a sort of last minute goal. So that was a great high for us, and the following year we finished sort of 10th, I think, in the Championship, which I think is the highest the club's ever finished, which was, I mean, great times, 2 great years there. Third year wasn't so good, you know, club had a bit of money trouble, and we were pretty much relegated actually by Easter. I remember getting relegated at the Valley actually at Charlton, which was a horrible feeling really. So some really good times at Peterborough, some of the best times, but a couple of low times as well.
Yeah, and then you moved back up to Scotland, up to your native country, and while up there you played in the Scottish Premier League for Partick Thistle, Dunfermline, and Ayr United. How does the SPL compare to playing in the Championship and League One down in England?
It was very different. It was very different. You know, the Championship was obviously a great league, right? And it's got better and better as the years went by. But going up and playing in that intensity, that goldfish bowl that's the SPL, you know, some good games obviously against Hibernians and Hearts and all the rest of it. But when you play the two big boys, the Rangers and the Celtic, they are different animals altogether, you know, and it's something you really need to enjoy and try and make the most of, because they don't come around, games like that don't come around all that often.
Yeah, and you had a bit of the relegation playoff, the way that the Scottish leagues used to work, where was it the second bottom team in the SPL played off against the second team in Division 1 to decide who went into the SPL.
Well, you've obviously done your homework, haven't you? It was a poor night actually. We finished second bottom of the SPL with Partick at the time. We ended up having to play Dundee United, who finished second top of the League One at the time. Playoff game, 2 legs, drew 1 each at Firhill on the Sunday, and then we had to go to Tannadice on the Thursday night, and we're 1-0 up, hanging on a wee bit, has to be said, and then Dundee United scored with quite literally 30 seconds left. I asked the referees, we're running back to the halfway line, and he said there was 30 seconds left. If we'd held on for 30 seconds we'd have stayed in the league. As it was, Owen Coyle, who's now been appointed Blackburn manager. Owen scored in extra time to take the Arabs, to take Dundee United back up to the Premier League and relegate us. So that was a tough thing to take, actually. Probably the most difficult thing I've had in the game, to be honest with you. I kind of lonesome figure walking the streets of Glasgow at 3 o'clock in the morning, can't sleep with your mind going at 100 mile an hour. It really was quite tough to take. It took a while to go over that.
So that, you sort of say you walk in the streets of Glasgow, was your mind full of sort of what ifs and if only and 30 seconds left?
It's one of my big regrets, really. You know, it's one of those things that's so near, so far. You know, probably over the course of the season we probably deserve to get relegated, if I'm being honest with you. But you know, it's a cup final, two-legged thing, and you know, over the first game I thought we were the better team, and I thought over the night we maybe just deserved to nick it. But you know, it was it was a horrible feeling.
Aye, so you faced the disappointment of that, and then you've moved back down into England, and you found yourself appointed caretaker manager at Boston, and then you were appointed on a full-time basis in December. I think it was 2008-2009 season. So how did you find that then, sort of going from a playing career into now being a manager at Boston United?
Well, I was head of youth at Boston at the time, so as I was for 10 years. And Tommy Taylor, the manager, was relieved of his duties in November, and I took over on a temporary basis and got a couple of results. And then the chairman asked me to take it to the end of the season. I think one of my first games actually was down here. I think we played Ilkeston down here and we managed to grind out a one each, I think it was. We scored with a penalty late on one Tuesday night down here when I think Rob Scott was the manager. So it was different, you know. My knowledge of non-league football wasn't great, to be honest with you. I have to be honest with you. I was always working with youth team players, so I threw a lot of the kids in. Some of them it worked, some of them it didn't work. So you learn a lot from them. You learn a lot how to do it. If you were to happen again, what would you do? What would you do better, and what would you do? What would you change, and all the rest of it? So it was a real learning curve for me. At the end of the season, the chairman obviously he appointed Rob Scott and Paul Hurst, and they done a great job. They took the club on to a different level. They knew non-league players, they knew players that they could get their hands on, which was great. And I went back to my youth role, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But the challenge came across here last year to come across and look after the academy this side, and I knew that the club had this young outlook which really suited me. And Gavin asked me to come across, and then Andy asked me to stay on. It was brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed the year we had. Obviously had a successful enough time with the youth team last year, and we're hoping now is that going forward that I can build on that experience I had at Boston, the experience that I know with the lads here, that I work with the lads here. Obviously Dutch knows the lads really well as well, so hopefully we'll be able to make really good judgment calls.
That's brilliant. Cheers, thanks very much for your time, Steve.
No worries, cheers.